Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do some flowers on this flower loom, which if you are not familiar with, this is the Clover flower loom. This is the set I'm going to use, but it actually comes with a square one here. Oop. So it comes with this bigger square one, this smaller square one, and then obviously this one, as well as the 3 small circles. That is 2 separate ones. So you can use any combination, but this is the first one I'm going to show you. There are several different flowers, so this is just a few of the different types that can be made. So this one is made with the square one, the smaller circle, and then that's just sewn in the middle for the secure. This one is made with the 3 circles. This is the first one we're making, so you can see the 3 layers. And then this is called the Rosebud Center, so I'll be showing you how to do that. This one is made entirely on the square one. This is just the one big square one, see they're all level, but it's done wrapped multiple times. Each wrap was 3 times, you can just see the 3 layers. And then use the back stitch circle. This is basically reversible. It's slightly different on the back, but not much. So it produces still a pretty one. And this could be used as motifs and things. But this one, it's a later date after these ones. I will be showing you how to make this one, which is a combination of 2 of the circles and the square and the Rosebud Center. But this one we'll be joining on the corners here to create a shawl. So keep an eye out for this video, this will be coming at some point, but for now I'm just going to show you how to make the basic ones. Each one will be in a separate video, so you can just pick which one you like, and then once I've got these videos up, I will get this one made and put up as a separate video as the entire shawl. Okay, so as said, we're making this one here first. Now, if you noticed with this one, I did the biggest square, but I only did the 2 circles. It's because this biggest circle and the big square cannot go onto the frame together, they don't fit. So you could make 2 separate ones and then sew them together, but for now I'm just not going to make one with both the big circle and the big square. You just do different ones. There's still a multitude of ones you can make with those combinations, so it's fine. So yeah, so this one is done with the biggest circle and the 2 inner circles. A lot of people don't bother with this centerpiece. I do, because I think it just helps line up all of the bits more evenly to get a better coverage. This one is not particularly neat one. You can do it much neater. I was just doing it quickly, so on this one, as you can see, it's the same one, but that one I did actually do neat because that one will be made into a shawl. This was just a test one, so don't worry about the back. You will be able to do it much neater. I will show you how, but yeah. So we're going to wrap all of these, and this is just 1 wrap per layer until we get to the center, and then that's 3 wraps on the same layer as this smallest pink. So just grab the pink yarn. Oh, you will need a tapestry needle and a pair of scissors, obviously, and your chosen yarn colours. I'm going to stick with the yellow, the pink and the yellow, though I'll be using a slightly darker yellow because I can't remember where I stuck the lighter yellow. So what we do, the first thing you want to do, if you haven't used these before, is you'll notice that they got little slots, and on each of these slots you've got little notches. So what you're going to do, one closest to you, you can do the furthest away one, but I find the easiest close to you, just pop it in and just tie just a 1 wrap overhand knot. It doesn't have to be super secure, it just has to be in there, and pop the knot under. You'll feel it pop. so it's underneath and it's just less likely to come. You don't want a huge tension on this, but you do want some, so you want it secure. So we're going to wrap this outer ring, then the middle ring, and then finally the centre ring, okay? So we're just going to go up. I find holding the yarn, either putting your finger on the top, so you just rest your finger on top, or holding the yarn down there, that's either way. And then I like to turn mine as I go, I find that easier. You can just wrap without turning, but I just find this easier. So you're going to go down all the way to the bottom one where you started, so you're wrapping it. And then be careful not to go across, you want to just go down to start with. And then you're going to go down to the next one. So you've wrapped this one, you're going to go down to this one. Shall we see if we can go in closer? That's as close as we can get, I'm afraid. But so you're going to be wrapping this side each time on this one. So we're going to go around, wrap it, hold it, go down, and see we're now back down to wrapping the same one on that side. Let's just unravel that side. So again, just turn, keep your finger on there so it doesn't go, and try to make sure when you're turning around you don't accidentally catch this one. If you do, just pop it off, look, and it just lines back up along the centre. And this will keep your middle clear for easier sewing in the middle, because when you're doing this particular join, you need to be able to access your centre quite easily. This one is done making this stitch first, but only 1 or 2 rounds, not all of them, so the centre closes up, but I still like to access the centre because that's where I anchor my yarn to start with, just for ease. So again, we're now on to this one, so we're just turning it around, and we're just going to keep going around. You see we're just going in between each of these. Try to make sure you push down so that they don't pop off. And we're just going around. So it might be a little fiddlier doing it this way because I usually do it in my lap. It's much easier to do this in your lap up against you. Don't necessarily sit doing it on the table because it's a little more fiddly if you sit turning it on the table. But you'll get into the swing of it and you'll just keep going around until you've completed the first round. And as I said, this time round I'm only doing 1 layer on each, but you can choose to do more. If you're using a thinner yarn, then I recommend doing more. This is a DK weight yarn, and because of the centre we're doing, it gets quite bulky, so I only wrap once, but feel free to wrap more if you have a thinner yarn. If you're using a much bulkier yarn, you may have a little trouble with the centre because it will get really quite bulky with all these layers. So a bulkier yarn might be wiser with not quite so many rings attached. So like just doing the 1 outer ring or the 1 inside ring, just so that you don't have quite so much bulk. Okay, last one. See, so now we're back down where we started, and each one of the outside ones now has a loop around it. I probably shouldn't have chose pink on pink really, should I, for camera purposes, but never mind, you get the gist of it. They're all wrapped around. So next we're going to move on to this middle ring. So what you're going to do is just, again, pop your finger over the top so the yarn can't come off that thing, and go down and give it a little push. And so we're wrapping this one on the bottom now, so again, finger on the top to stop it coming off. See, and if you just hold your finger on the top, you can just take your yarn out to the edge and then just wrap around this one by lifting it up. See, so just lifting it up over that one to go round the middle one. And this is the same process you'll do in the middle one. So you'll just keep wrapping this around until you've got one on each. Don't forget to push them down because you don't want them to pop up. So we're just going around and around, as I said, until we have one on each in this colour. You could do a different colour per ring. Just bear in mind, the more colours you use, the more ends you'll need to sewing at the end, which of course more ends equals less stability. So it's best to use as minimal strands as you can while still keeping it looking pretty. You could use a self-striping yarn. A self-striping yarn would produce some really beautiful results because you would get a change in the flowers, but it would become nice and gradual depending on the length of the striping change. Variegated yarns can also look quite pretty, but obviously variegated yarn can be a bit tricky on some things because sometimes what looks pretty in the ball looks awful in real life. So it's a matter of just trial and error, finding out what you want. I'm sorry if I'm going off camera. I try to keep it as close up as possible so you can see a little easier, which means I don't have a lot of manoeuvre room. But we're getting there. We're almost done on the rounds for this flower. Keep pushing down. If you find you accidentally wrap over two, don't worry about it, just unhook it over the one that shouldn't be on, just give it a little tug and that will tighten up any loose strands you have. So it's not the end of the world if you make a small little mistake. And if you miss one, don't worry, just go back and do it. Just wrap around. It doesn't matter if it's slightly out of order because the centre will secure them anyway. Okay, so we're wrapping the last one on this centre one. So that's now wrapped the last one, and this one you can already see this one already has a loop on it there. So we're finishing here, so you can see you've now finished the centering, and we're going to move on to the inside ring. So it's again the same process. So we'll be wrapping this one first because that's the side one. So lift up and around. So just lifting that. As you get to the middle, it does bounce up a little more, so you have to be more careful to push it down. Sorry about the focus there. So we're just going to go around until we got all of these. The smaller one obviously naturally has less spokes, so it won't take as long. But we're just going to wrap the once around on each one. It gets a little more fiddly as you go, especially if you have chunky fingers like myself. But just keep on going, and before long you'll have it all done. If you're ever not sure where you've been, just look for the last one that's got a wrap on it and you'll be able to see where you go. You can easily see that you don't want to go across there, you want to go across there because there's no loop on that one. And you always want a loop completed to the left and wrapping on the right. Now if you're left-handed, you'll just have it done the opposite way round. It doesn't matter. It won't make any difference to the final product. It's just the way that you've wrapped them around the opposite way, and that's absolutely fine. So don't worry thinking that you need to learn a different way for left-handed, because you don't. So this is the last one. Okay, so I've wrapped the last one, so now all of these have loops on them. Bit of focus. Doesn't want to focus, does it? There we go. So yeah, all of those now have loops on, and that's what you're left with. So what you're going to do is, remember we had our little bit here, you're going to keep that on there because we want to keep it secured for a minute. So we're just going to tie another little knot in, literally just holding that down and wrapping the yarn around. So all you've done is just go that way. So you've just done a little round, one loop around. It's gonna focus there. Focus for a second, then stop, didn't it? But yeah, there we go. So it's just one loop around because it doesn't have to be secure. It's just holding it in place while we do the centre. See, that just holds it in place so it doesn't unpop. And that will pop. Let's let the focus come back. Okay, so now we're going to start with this centre. So I'm just going to snip my pink yarn off so it's out of the way and grab a length. Now I'm using just this yellow yarn. First thing we have to do is wrap around the centre one 3 times like we just wrapped with that one, because that is what provides the bumps that get gathered later, which it will be explained. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to pop down the centre and tie a little knot in there. Again, just a half a knot, not a whole one, and tuck it under. Your ends get a bit tangled, we've just got to keep them out of the way. Okay, so again, we're working on this centre one, remember now? That's all we're doing, so we're ignoring these first 2 ones. We're going to go up and hold the centre one like we did before, and we're going to go round. So we're wrapping this one, so we go around, and we're just going to keep going round, wrapping the centre one. Just keeps going until we get to the end. So always remember, if you're not sure where you go, check where it's got the loop for the last one compared to the one you're doing. And it's really simple to see in real life. It might not be so simple to see on camera because of the angle, but in real life you'll probably be looking at it like that sort of angle, so you could easily see the loops. So we're just going to keep wrapping around. Try to keep a reasonable tension on it. You don't want to be pulling tight, but you want to keep tension so that it doesn't unravel, because until it's secured it can unravel if you don't keep a tension on it. Which is why we secure the end of the pink when we finish with it, to keep a tension. So that's one round. So we've now completed 1 round of the yellow. We need to do that 2 more times so that we got the bases for our Rosebud Center. So just go around again. You can just count the amount of loops on the stand to see if you've been round 3 times, and to make sure you don't miss any. Let's unravel my yellow a minute. Keep pushing down because this is going to be getting quite full now, and you don't want the popping off the end, because if it pops off the end it will start to unravel and you'll just need to catch it. If it does start to unravel, just shove a finger on top. That will stop any more unravelling, and then you can slowly add the tension again and start adding the yarn back to where it come off. Almost finished the second round. Okay, so we finished the second loop, which again you can tell because you can see there's 2 loops. Do it right there, yeah, see? So you can see there's 2 loops on each of those strands. So we want a 3rd loop on each one, so we'll just do 1 more time around. And I know there's already a pink loop on, but in this case we're working the Rosebud Center, so we need to have 3 loops of the yellow. So for purposes of this, we're actually ignoring the pink loops that's on this center one. So, almost finished. Again, make sure you're going either side. It just helps keep a neater look. It's not 100% essential, but it does give a much neater, more evenly balanced flower if you stick to doing it on the right side. That's why I use that loop, that stick in the middle, so that it can help keep everything in the right place. So almost done, almost got 3 on everything. As you see, it's getting very full now. Okay, so we're back to the beginning. We now have 3 loops on each one in the centre. So again, you want to add in your little knot to secure it. Make sure nothing's coming off. Just pull your little knot down to the centre. Okay. This one's been a little fiddly, but it doesn't matter. As long as the knot's on there, it doesn't matter if it's above or below, just as long as it's staying there and staying put. Okay, so just trim that off and we can tuck that out of the way. Again, give a good push to make sure everything stays down. Okay, so now we're going to start with the centre. Now, I'm 5 foot nothing, and I do my wingspan in length of yarn, so that length is basically my wingspan. So that's from arm to arm, just holding one in each end. And that gives me roughly the correct amount to do, with some leeway for weaving in ends. Those of you who are taller might not need their entire wingspan, but it comes with practice. You'll soon work out roughly what you need. Okay, so while this is still secured, we need to take out this centre bit, and this is where it gets fiddly, so you have to be careful. You want to gently pop off the outer ring, just gently pop it off along the top. Okay, and then gently pop off the centre rings, just so you can just lift it up very gently, because you don't want to pop anything off, and lift that centre out, and then you can gently push everything back in. That comes with practice. If you just don't yank and you pull gently, you'll be able to do that. And you can see now we've got that nice neat centre hole. So mostly you'll find most people don't even bother coming up through that centre hole when doing this. But because we're doing the rosebud one, we can hide it in the centre. So we're going to go up through here. Pull your towel so it's there. You don't forget to leave enough that you can weave in the end after, so leave that in. And then we're just going to go down through, see this is the bud, so we're going to go down through there and down out through the centre. So you see, you got there, that's your centre you went up through, and you're going down through the bud and out through the centre. So we're just going to pull that. You'll find that sometimes, like there, look, they get stuck. Just lift them off. Now, for the first pull, just be careful that your end doesn't come out, because that can happen. But after you've done your first one, you're good. Right, so that one, we're just securing that in place. We won't be needing to go through that centre anymore for this particular one. Okay, that's just purely to hold it in place, and it'll be hidden once we do it. If you're doing that one, obviously you won't want to go through the centre, we'll go out on the edge, but because we're doing this one, the centre thing with the bud, we'll be able to hide the centre, so it doesn't matter. So now what we're going to do, you want to start by securing the last one that you went, so it doesn't pop off. So as you can see, this one's coming down here, this is the last one we did. So okay, so we need to go into this one to secure it. So we want to come up into there. So you want to just go up under and just roughly estimate where you want to go. And then poke up, and you can see you come through the right place. It might take a few jabs to get it in the right place. That comes with experience, but you'll get there. So we've gone up through that one. What we want to do now is to go down through the one next to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a band over, which is going to help hold this one down for now. So we're going to just go down through that one. I find starting at the pin, go straight down and then slide. That makes sure you catch all of these strands correctly and don't miss one off angle. And then just pull through. Again, just unhook any that get caught. It does like to get caught. The less thread you have as you go on, the less will get caught, so don't worry about that. So we went down through this one and we've been up through that. So what we need to do is we need to come up through this one here to go back down into that one. Okay, so we're going to go up through there. Keep them pulled down. So again, just kind of aim and you'll get there. Now we're going to go back down through this one that we've already been down in. Okay. Give a little tug so it's reasonably firm. So the next one is we're going to come up through this one here. So there we go. There we go. So you can have a feel and you'll know as you're going through whether it feels right or whether you feel like you're pulling against a thread that needs rearranging. So again, back down through this one. Try to make sure you get all your threads. And then up through this one. I think you get the gist of it now. So we're just going to keep going back down through the one we already been through and up through the new one to the left of it. So always up. See, we've done this once, so we're going to the left of it. So and then down through the centre again. We're going to do this all the way around. And as I said, most people for the rosebud only do it the once, but I prefer to do it twice just to be secure. So I'm going to show you the second round in a second, because we don't go through in the same spaces on the second round. We've got to go in between them. I do it because you'll notice there's a misalignment between these ones. You've got that one lined up and that one, but not this one, which means if we're just doing this one, we're actually missing that loop, and it's just being caught, whereas you want to catch inside of every loop. So the next round I will show you will actually catch those loops that we're not catching in this round, which is why I like to do 2 rounds. I'm sure it's secure with just the 1 round, but I like to be extra secure. Because you never know what you're going to be making these into, to whether if you're going to be pulling on a specific flower. And if you haven't secured it, then you might pull it off angle, and you don't really want to do that. Okay, so we're back round to where we started. So we've just gone down into that round and we came up on that one, remember, because we caught that. So that's that first round done. Give a little push. You want to go in between. So the loop over that we've done, we want to just push that down towards the centre a little. This is easier with a metal one. Now, smart eyes, you would notice that I missed one. It doesn't matter. You're just going to go up into the one you missed and back down. See, mistakes are easily fixed. That has now had them all caught, see? So it doesn't matter if you miss one, just go from the underneath, back up, and nobody will notice. Okay. So next we're going to be doing the next round. Okay, we're back again. So my camera can only do 20 odd minutes and so it cuts out. Hopefully we got the end of the last one on there. So as you can see, we've done the 1 round that's caught all of these over and we've gone inside all of these loops. But as I said, this one's in between. So though they have caught those threads, it's nothing inside. So I like to do the next one. A second layer around means what we're doing is we're going to come up in between where we left off. So we're going to come up in here. You see the part here? That's in that loop. So we're going to come up there. And then we're going to go down in the next one. So we're skipping over this loop and going down into this one. And what that does is it hooks over this one, as you can see, like this one hooked over. But now we're inside these two loops, and so they are caught. So we're going to do that all the way around again. So again, it's just a matter of coming up and then down through the one you came through last time. And you repeat the process that you just did all the way around, just in a slightly different position. It takes a little while to get into the right place sometimes, even someone who's been doing it a while like myself. But you will get the gist of it and you'll just keep going. Yep. See that one? It went over there. You've got to be careful to make sure you pull it back that way so it's hooking over there. We are almost finished our flower. There's not much left to do on this one. See, it's trying to go over, so just encourage it down to the correct position. Oh, sorry, that's my medicine alarm. Okay, sorry about that little interruption there. Didn't know the time in my meds, decided it was time. Okay, so if you remember, we were just doing this one and we're about to go over to this one. Of course, you won't see much of an interruption because of the power of editing, but you'll know that I stopped and started because of positions, I expect. So we're just keeping going. Almost to the end now. Last one, so up where we originally started, down that last one. Okay, and again, I like to just give them all a little push down so that they're closer to the centre. This becomes a habit eventually, so you just keep on going and you'll get there. And that one obviously is my loose one there, so just there you go. So that's that one done. So I come up through the middle just to secure it, and then go back down on the inside of that just for securing it purposes. You'll weave in the ends properly, but that just gets that secured out of the way, let's say, because nobody will see that once we've created the bump, which we're about to do now. So what you need is another strand of the yarn, not too much, it just needs to be able to go around there in time with enough to weave in. So grab another strand. And now what we're going to do, again, come up through the centre hole just for securing it, so it's not in the way. And then each one of these sets of 3 yellows, each one of these 3 strands, we're going to pull off onto the needle and then onto this thread, so that we can gather at the end. So be really careful not to accidentally pick up a pink, and you just want to gently pop it off. The first one can be a little fiddly, turning on your tension, but you'll get there, so just pull it through. Don't pull too tight on the first one, because of course we've only got it anchored through the centre. So again, all 3 off, and out the pink, and pull it through. Nextly, pull through. I'm going to do this until we've got all of them hooked around, and then I can show you what to do next. See, they come off much easier once you've got the first 1 or 2 off, because the tension's starting to release on them. If you accidentally pull off a pink one, don't worry, it's really easy to pop it back on, so that's all you'll need to do. Okay, so you want to miss this strand coming out, because you don't need that. So just grab your 3, but leave that behind for now. That you'll deal with later. Okay, so just keep going, grabbing the 3. You don't have to turn it as you go, but as I said, I find it easier to turn it as I go, so that's what I do. And you'll find your own easier routes as you make more of these. Okay, almost done. Last one. Okay, so what you want to do is that one you anchored through the centre, just pull it up so you got both ends here, and then you want to just pull tight. You just give it a pull, and then obviously you'll need to tie in and just pull it really tight. This really helps if you've got a good strong yarn, because you can pull really tight. Use your finger to hold it down in place while you tie a second one to secure the knot fully. There we go, and then just poke your end down through the centre. Once you've got that end in, grab your next end, and we're going to poke that one down through the centre. That one goes down through. Now turn around, untie your yellow ones here. So you got that one off. Again, we're just going to poke this down through the centre, because the strand will just blend in with these loops. So when you poke it down through, nobody will actually see you've poked the end through, see? Again, grab the next one, which is your last of the yellows. Poke that on down. Give it a pull. There you go. So you've got all your yellow strands through. So now you want to get your pink ones out of the way. Now obviously you're not going to poke them through the middle of your yellow, are you? But what you're going to do is you're going to poke them down close to it. So just thread the needle without dropping it would be good. Okay, so what you want to look for is, you can see this thread is going basically around these two, so you want to pick which one's the best one. This one looks like it's more likely in that one, and poke it down through there. Ooh, let me unhook it. And you see, so now nobody can see it. It's poked through and nobody can see that. You can do the same with the other one, so just unpop the strand. It might take a lot of fiddling to do, but you'll get there. So unpop that strand. Now it might take a little bit of tugging to get that one through, because obviously it's through all three of those layers, so just give it a little tug and you can see naturally where it's wanting to go down. So you can see it wants to go down there, so just poke it on down there and give it a tug. And now all your ends are through the middle, out of the way. So it's time to take it off and weave in your ends. So first thing you want to do is just remember when we pop them off gently, you want to do the same thing so that you can take all of them off in one go. Take it off your frame. Let's just snip some of these, they're a bit long. Okay, now you can take them off any order you like, but I find it easier to hold the outside one and push up from the middle. And that pops that one off. Do the same again, hold the outside one, push up from the middle. And repeat this process, and this time you'll just be pushing up in there. Push up, and out you go. And that is your almost fully complete flower. You just, go that way. You just need a weave in your ends, which obviously are here. Now, it's really simple. You're going to do, just move some out of the way as you go. Just pick one, doesn't matter which one, but you want to pick one. And you're going to just weave in your ends. So I go underneath the pink ones and out through the yellow ones there. Look. Doesn't matter where you come out through, just so you're within the yellow, and then you can work around the outside, going through, just pulling this. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want to gather them, but you want it in there reasonably well as well. So just poking on through, move them out the way, maybe go back that way, just until you know it's in there secure, and snip off the end. Again, grab one of your middles, and do the same process. So down under the pinks, out through the yellow, and around you go. So this is a really simple process. I will show you what to do about any yellow strands that are showing over the pink in a minute, don't worry about that. So if you see like some only have the odd one or two, just go along there, because you want to try to make it look reasonably even. You don't want to do all of your sewing around one part and have barely any yellow on the other side. You want them to look like they're all supposed to be in the same place. So if needs be, go backwards. As long as you're catching a yellow so you're not going back out where you came from, you're all good. Just keep going. You just want to pick directions and spots that try to mimic where everything else is going, so that it looks like it's all just neatly done. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, especially if you're going to be covering this with a backing for a pin or something. You know, if you're making a brooch, then you're going to have a backing on it and it's not going to matter. But it's just nice to at least attempt to have a nice edging and try not to get stuck while doing it. Now obviously this isn't going to be a super flat flower because of the rosebud. It is the more thicker, chunkier piece. But it can still work for brooches and all sorts, so don't worry. It just be a more 3D-like look, which, you know, normal flowers aren't 100% flat, so actually it just adds to the look. So these ones, obviously, again, we're just going to go under and through. And as these are getting through to the last few yellows, you want to just try to make sure you're catching anywhere that might need a little more yellow to make sure it looks reasonably well covered. So, as I said, go across if you need to help secure, because that will keep it in. It's kind of like if you were a kid and you made daisy chains, you went through the flower, didn't you? And it's the same sort of thing, you're just securing it through, but we're just not poking out the middle of it on the other side. So, go under and through. The more ends you weave in, obviously, the thicker this becomes, so it gets a little more fiddly. The last yellow. This is a bit short, I should have left a longer tail, but it can be worked in. I've worked with less. Come up through that bit because I noticed that there was a little short and yellow in that section and we wanted to do it. So we're just going to weave through. I'm going right through the middle here, which is why it's a little more fiddly, but just because that one's shorter and I can't do as many rounds, I wanted to make sure it's secure. Okay, so we're on to the remaining pink ones. The other one's here. Sorry, just going off camera there. So we're on the remaining pink ones. So I'm going to take the pink ones, and this time I'm going to go under the yellow. See, so you're just going to go up under the yellow and come out with the pink. Try to make sure you don't catch any earrings. And if you've got a mishap here, like you see the yellow has come over, just try to sew over and around it and you can hide it. So we're going to go over and around. You want it to look like it's still doing this, so just keep working your way through and try to mimic the rest of the pattern. So almost covered it just in the first two strands. So it doesn't take much to cover a small mishap like this. Ooh, make sure you don't pull in any rings. Okay. That now has the yellow mishap completely covered. So just again go through the centre, make sure you're securing in the ends and snip off. So final one. Now obviously if you were just going to tie this to something, you could just use the two ends, have them poking through the middle and tie them, but as most of these will be used for motifs for shawls or for brooches and pins, I'm securing it all so that we can put a pin across the back and it'll be fine. So just going through, catch any loops you might accidentally pull. Try not to pull your yarn off your needle. There we go. And that, there we go, is your first flower done. See, so there's your end, reasonably neatly done. You can squish it a little to make it a little flatter, but there you go. So there's your 3 layers. You got your first one, second one, third one, and that's the layer of yellow you done, which as you can see, if I can get it to focus close, created the loops to create the rings. So it just goes pretty around. So that is the first one done. And remember, that was done with just these 3 rings on the base. So 3 rings can produce a very pretty and colourful flower. Okay, so keep an eye out for the next videos coming along where I'll be showing how to do some of those other flowers. Okay, bye for now.